The University of Georgia is going to demonstrate two what I thought were very interesting blocking drills. And the first is what you see here, where they'll place rubber tension bands around their forearms, and they go through blocking footwork and then extending over the net. And I'm sure this reflects a core philosophy when it comes to teaching the skill in terms of the Georgia staff wants the hands to be carried high. They want the arms to be about shoulder width apart, and they don't want a lot of movement away from that position. And people teach blocking different ways, and I don't think there's any right or wrong way per se. And I think there's a lot to be said for what's being demonstrated here in terms of the blocking movement can be a very simple movement, and this is what the tension bands reinforce. Some people teach to swing their arms and a lot of arm movement, and what you see here is just the opposite, very minimal arm movement. So what the result of this will be is their hands always are in a blocking position. The tension bands reinforce how wide they should be. So you see the blockers start with their hands about at their shoulders and their arms about shoulder width apart, and then they just simply extend straight from that position. So when they're above the net, they reach over the net. Their arms are extended straight from the shoulders, and there's very little movement laterally. And I think this will present a block that's a lot easier to, one, dig around, and two, the blockers are being trained to keep the motion simple and just extend straight over the net. Part two of their blocking progression here, which I thought was interesting, is reaching over to grab smaller balls out of the coach's hands. And a couple things. You'll see a reinforcement of what you saw originally in terms of their hands start high and they just extend straight over the net. You also see here with the outside blockers is they get to the antenna and then work their way back in. So again, I think this is a reflection of the core coaching philosophy of start wide and work to the middle, and it avoids a common problem of blockers reaching away from their middle blocker or reaching sideways, which prevents them from being over the net. The part of this I thought was interesting is we've seen drills before where the blockers reach over and grab balls, but this is they rebound and put the ball back into the coach's hands. And the coach is going to be challenging the blocker to reach over as far as they can on both repetitions. So they reach over when they take the ball, and then they reach over again when they put the ball back into the coach's hands. But again, you see how the blockers are being very disciplined about their hand and arm movement in terms of shoulder width, extend straight over. And again, I think there's a lot to be said for this type of approach to blocking. Very simple with the hands and arms, and the focus is extend from the shoulders and reach straight over the net as far as you can. So I think both of these drills reinforce some very positive things about blocking and might be worth the effort of experimenting with in your own gymnasiums.